So welcome to another video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And today we're talking about spooky games.
We even have the little skeletons lined up here.
Yeah.
We've set the theme and the atmosphere
And
today.
by spooky games, I don't mean 5-mapper, giant operational level games.
That's spooky sometimes, too.
Like Stalingrad 42. That can be spooky for some people. Yeah. But we're talking about spooky themed games.
Yeah. Halloween games, basically.
Yeah, games that crack out at Halloween and pretend that war games are scary. But we're also going to talk about a few games that we have and play that happen to also be those themes that aren't war games. Because people ask all the time, oh, what do you play when you're not playing war games? Well, we play war games all the time.
Yeah.
But the times that we're not, some of them do happen to have a theme of usually like sci-fi, horror, or, you know, more traditional.
I feel like we do a lot of sci-fi horror.
Well, I love that stuff.
I do too.
Love, you know, I watch Alien, I watch The Thing, I watch all those kind of movies.
So good.
Because I like sci-fi, I like horror, but I want it to be intelligent, and if it's a bit tense and scary, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. You're not going to have a disagreement from me.
No. So let's get down to business and talk about some of the games that we've played that you could pretend were Halloween themed.
And actually, a couple of these are actually, you know, war games or historically themed games. So they're not all just Euros and card games.
Yeah, but some of them.
Yeah, some of them. Anyway.
Okay, so to start with, we're going to start with one of the oldest games in my collection. And by old, I mean I've had it the longest. I've had this, gosh, when did it come out? I don't know.
We first played that in 2010.
Yeah, so this came out in 2011.
2011. We played it in 20. And you came here.
I probably bought this in 2011 or 12. Okay. I mean, it was really early on. This is Elder Sign. So
Fantasy Flight Games,
yes,
right?
And it's still available.
It's a great game.
And the base game, I actually don't like it. We played it a lot.
I do like it, but the expansion makes it that much better.
The Gates of Arkham adds a lot more actual theme to it, because this is a dice rolling Yahtzee style game. Where you're in a Miskatonic museum, but then the expansion adds different locations that all have thematically driven cards, and it's a little bit cooler. I like that a lot.
And there was another expansion we played at Gen Con. I want to say it was Unseen or something. There was
so there's Elder Sign Unseen Forces, which is the first expansion.
Okay,
that adds more of the same. Gates of Arkham was the second expansion.
It changes it.
Basically revamped the whole game.
Yeah, you're right.
Then they did Omens of Ice and some other one.
Okay.
But the Gates of Arkham is like the business. I like it. That really. So yeah, this is a fun little co-op game. It can play up to 8.
And it's a Yahtzee style game with custom dice where you're rolling dice, trying to match those dice with symbols on cards that are monsters or challenges.
Yeah, and
if you defeat them, you get abilities, skills, spells, weapons that make your job of clearing this museum of evil that much easier.
So this is a very light game.
Yeah.
You can play it with a lot of different people, you know, young and old, and it can seat a good number of people around a table.
We played this first with my, I think he was probably 9 at that time.
Really?
And he loved it.
Yeah.
He loved it. He really enjoyed it. So a good, light, fun game.
Light, fun.
Based on horror, but you're not going to not be able to sleep after you play that.
But you read the little text and some creepy things happen.
Yeah. Kind of fun.
Yes. I really like that one. It's a fun little game, and it's got a bit of nostalgia because we've had it for a long time. I've played it a whole bunch.
I agree.
Next up, we have here... Alright. It comes in a tube, and it is called Forest of the Impaled, Dracula's Last Stand. And this is from...
Command Post Games.
Command Post Games.
And we played this about a year ago.
Was it only a year?
Yeah, maybe a year. It might have been a year and a half. Yeah. I tell you, this year is like a blur.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's October, and I feel like we've done nothing.
We probably played this 4 years ago.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
No, it was last year.
Yeah, this came out in 2017, and we played it, I think, in 2019.
It was in 19. Pretty sure it was in 19.
Well,
I'm almost positive it was in 19.
Whenever it was, this is a gorgeous game to start with. The map is really,
fantastic.
really nice.
Yep.
But it's, you know, Dracula's final stand. There's not actually any vampires in this.
So it's the historic
Yes.
Vlad the Impaler.
Yes.
And Transylvania and the protection of that from the Ottomans.
Yes.
As they tried to come in and sweep through the country.
It's a very asymmetric style war game in the sense that the Ottomans have a ton of guys and they're kind of not great. But they're just swarming up the map and they basically have to take everything.
Yeah.
And Vlad the Impaler, he's just trying to fight them and stop them, and he can
some very cool abilities.
You know, the units are these little long rectangular wooden pieces, and you can stand them up, and that is impaled guys that you've killed, and that stops units and makes them make morale checks
as they approach. They have to make a morale check, or they're going to fail and flee, and it just is very interesting. So it becomes. It's a defensive game for Vlad. You're not going to go out and wipe the Ottomans out.
You physically cannot.
Yeah, you're trying to kind of fall back to different passes where they have to come through, set up your spike strips, to scare them away, and then just keep them out of your castles. And
force, you're trying to force the Ottomans into a Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is have something on the board in some stronghold, basically, at the end. As long as you can do that, you win the game, or don't.
Well, I think it's actually like a draw, I want to say.
Well, maybe.
But we played that game that's about an hour and a half. We played it literally back to back one day.
Yeah.
And we had a good time with it. It's cool. You also have some optional rules, if I remember correctly, we didn't use.
You can switch allegiances of one of the guys. I forget what his name is.
Yeah.
But, it's a beautiful game.
Yeah.
It's
very cool.
Not the cheapest game of the whole world, and storage is kind of a monster.
Yeah.
But
well, and if you don't know anything about Command Post games, they make some really good games. They have, I think their line of games is called Pub Battles, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Pub Battles is their most popular line, I think.
And they use, it's like matchstick units. I mean, the units represent formations.
Yeah.
It's in Napoleonic and a lot of, I think they have Revolutionary War, American Civil War. I played Sharpsburg and had a great time with it. Played that with our friend Matt, who now moved away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a great little company. They have really good games, so very fun. Yes. Forest of the Impaled. It sounds wicked, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
What else have we got?
This is a game we have had a good time with, right?
Yes.
Arkham Horror from Fantasy Flight Games. It's a kind of a questing type.
Yeah.
What would you?
So I had this. This is the 3rd edition. This is the most recent edition. I had the 2nd edition before. I actually had that when I lived in England.
And we played it, and I didn't like it. I remember not liking the game.
It was massive. It was sprawling. It took forever. Some of the stuff was wonky. I had all the expansions for it. Some of them were really cool. So eventually I'll invest in these. But this totally changed the system. Made it much more fast-paced.
Very clean. I felt it was very clean.
Yeah, I like this a lot. They have a codex, which is like there's a story to the scenarios that you play, and the victory conditions are not readily apparent.
No.
So you're discovering how you're going to win the game as you play it, which I think is so cool. I loved that aspect of what they've done with this. And they add in a kind of a pandemic style event deck, which means that there's a bit of theme in that, the evil stuff that's happening is concentrating over here, and things keep coming back after you keep doing them. I enjoy this much better than the old version. I just want this to get to that stage where it has all the other stuff too. There's expansions for this now, because some of the other stuff is so cool.
Well, I mean, we've played this and I've enjoyed it. So it's something, we're not going to play it a ton, but we're going to play it occasionally.
And I've played this solitaire, and it is good solitaire too.
Yeah.
You just run multiple guys.
I really like it because it's got that Cthulhu horror feel. You're investigators, running around trying to find out what's going on and stopping it. And it's just fun. And I really, like you said, that codex, we never knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, you're like, oh, is this going to make me win the game or not? No, there's like a whole bunch of other crap to do. Okay, great.
So when we won the game, recently we played this, and we're like, oh, we won the game. Oh. We thought there was going to be something else. But it was fun. Just a good time game.
Yes.
With a little bit of a horror theme.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get once again, you're not going to be afraid when you go to bed at night.
And again, another co-op. I think it can seat up to 6 people. I don't know if that would be too much downtime for everyone, but play this with 3 or 4. You can have a grand old time with it.
You would each have one investigator. When we played it with 2 of us, we each had 2.
And that is also how I play Elder Sign as well.
Yeah, right. We do that as well.
It's too difficult if you have just one.
It is. So, but yeah, Arkham Horror. Very cool game.
Yeah, have a good time with this one when I play.
And there's a card game.
Yes,
like that you have.
There's an LCG. Apparently, there's a ton of expansions for this. This is... I've played this Solitaire. You've not played this.
No, I have not.
I've both played a physical copy and I've played a bunch on Tabletop Simulator as well. This is much more to me about the story. I'm reading all the cards and kind of soaking up the story. It's fun. It's totally weird. And, like, depending on what happens, you read a different part of, like... There's like a booklet of like, this is what happens to you, and it might be totally like different. 6 different things that can happen depending on what you did. Yeah. So I like that aspect of it. Now I want to explore this more.
Yeah, and I'd like to play that a little bit just because, you know, I have a good time with that Cthulhu type theme. We got a couple others over here. One of the best games I think we've ever played on horror, and maybe you don't agree with me on that, but
this is just a great game.
It's just a great game. Great game. Dawn of the Zeds by Herman Lettman from Victory Point Games. Yes. I actually, Herman has done a lot of great war games. You know, the Blind Sword system, At Any Cost that we played a couple years ago. Devils to Pay. What's his new game that he's reissuing? Crowbar, which we enjoyed, that solo game. In Magnificent Style. Pickett's Charge at Gettysburg. Herman's a very good designer, and this is a very good game. It's a fun horror cooperative that you can play solo. Yep. But it's that States of Siege style, 4 or 5 paths or tracks. And you're fighting off the hordes of zombies that are coming down these tracks, and you have different characters with different abilities, and it's about maximizing.
And you have like 2 actions.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Action, and you gotta do much.
The other thing I love about this is when you shoot your gun, you got like 3 bullets.
Yeah.
So you have to go out and find more ammunition. So you have to scavenge. Or I think there's one area where you literally go in a mine.
Farm in the mine, You're like hitting that up.
So you're like making bullets.
But if the zombies come and take it, you're just like, we're screwed.
But it's a fantastic game. There's so much narrative. There's so much storytelling. And there's frankly, how many different versions of this are there? I mean, it's like you can play...
Yeah, so there's like 5 or 6 different levels. Yeah. Where in each level adds more and more stuff. Yeah. Like, more bad stuff, but, like, you can also then work on a research track to make laser weapons. Yeah. Just, like, it has so many tropes in it. Yeah. This is, like, the quintessential zombie game in that way. Yeah. It's very good.
I love this game. We have played... How many times have we played this? Probably
we played
a dozen.
This a bunch, yeah.
And I've never had a bad time with it. Even when we get crushed. Because, once again, it's that cooperative experience where I'm trying to figure out how to work with you, work within our parameters and the abilities we have, and it's just a good time.
And it's States of Siege, so it's actually fairly simple. There's some symbols and stuff, but you flip a card, and these bad guys activate. You do this, 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 and this, and then you flip a card, and then these bad guys activate. It's not complex particularly.
No. I love this one. Yes. So
this is Dawn of the Zeds. And this box is chock full. It's very heavy.
And this was like the 3rd edition? It's 3rd edition. Yes. And there's a new edition
deluxe edition. We get nice bags.
Isn't there a new edition they're coming out with, I thought?
I think it's still this, though. Okay. Because it's part of the Premier line. It's still... I don't know if there's a new version, but I think it's just that.
Anyway, that's one of my favorite horror zombie games, and it's just a good game. It's really just a good game.
Another game is Warfighter World War II.
Zombies.
The zombies. Yeah. There's a couple of zombies expansions, there's some Cthulhu expansions, and some bits and pieces. It's like playing Call of Duty with the Nazi zombies mod, right?
Absolutely it is.
But you can turn your Warfighter game into that. You get the zombies expansion, and you literally fight a horde of zombie Nazis, or the Imperial Japanese Army.
Nazis.
And there's some of them
Japanese zombies.
The Ronin, who's a zombie. But you have World War II weapons, and you're running and gunning,
Yep.
and you have a little chaplain with you throwing his holy water, and
which that's the best part. The chaplain just becomes the guy that's the glue holding the squad together.
Yeah.
Because they're shooting, and they just don't have the ability always to kill the zombies, and you have to do things to weaken them, hurt their abilities, take away their fear. What is it? Fearlessness, where they can't be suppressed. And it's just a great time. You pick a school, a theology school, and you have certain powers. And it's just so fun. I have a great time with that game. We need to play more of that.
Yeah,
frankly.
This is a fun war game anyway, just as like a fun co-op.
Yeah.
But then you add the little zombies, you get
the horror
nice,
aspect.
you get a nice little festive theme to it as well.
Yeah. Good time.
Yes, always a good time with that.
Good time. One of my other really favorite horror games that we've played, and we've played this one quite a few times as well.
Yeah.
With our old group, and frankly, I would love to have played it more, but, it's hard to get everything to the table. But Dead of Winter, from Cool Mini or Not, right? Come On Games.
It is from
I'm sorry, Plaid Hat Games. Did I say that's stupid? I'm sorry. Plaid Hat Games. And this one has a couple of expansions. I don't think we have the expansions.
So I don't think they're expansions. I think they're both standalone.
Like a new standalone type of a game.
I'm not sure because I just got the base game. It's great as it is.
Yeah, but it's a cooperative game. It's got a hidden traitor element. So you've got somebody in there that could potentially be assigned as the traitor.
You might do. You might
not. And they're going to try to sabotage things because they win if... do they win typically if the colony...
Usually they have to do something else.
Right.
They have to make you lose and have
completed
a bunch of
this
petrol or a bunch of guns.
Yeah.
So they have their own agenda.
So it's not only the zombies, you're fighting them back, and it's so cool. The map is like you're in a little building, and there's 5 or 6 entrances.
This reminds me very much of The Walking Dead. I think that's what this is inspired by, right? You're like in the prison, and you have to go out to the other parts of the town. Go and scavenge at the petrol station. We need petrol. Go to the police station. We need guns.
Yeah, we need medical supplies. Yeah.
And so there's a central location where you're trying to fend off zombies.
Yeah.
Literally just shoot them at the gates at all costs. But then you've got to send out parties to go and get resources that you need.
Yeah.
But it's also the middle of winter, so you might die of frostbite or bad things happen.
You have to feed people. So the more people you have in your colony...
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll find survivors, and they don't really do anything for you. But they come into your colony, and it's like, oh, you now got to feed them. Congratulations.
Or you're like, oh, we'll turn them away. But you take a morale hit, and you might lose the game if your morale drops too low.
But you know that you don't have the food to feed them.
Yeah.
And then the other really cool thing that I think is a very odd thing is you create trash, and you have to clean the trash out.
Yeah.
Because the trash building up reduces your morale.
Yeah, no one wants to live in
And so there's a lot of those elements. It's got that really great feel of survival.
Yes.
Particularly during the winter.
Survival
game. During the winter. And it's bleak. And I love it. It's called a Crossroads game.
Yes, and that's the best part of this game. There's a Crossroads deck where if it's your turn, the last player draws a card from this Crossroads deck, and it has some secret text on it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if these conditions are met at any time during your turn, we interrupt things, and the fun stuff happens.
Yeah.
And there's like a neat story.
Oh, it's great.
And there'll be some choices or some consequences at the end. And it might be you have to make a choice, or it might be the whole group has to vote on something, or some terrible thing happens based on something that you did a while back.
Yep.
And those little nuggets of story and narrative make this game.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
And like you said, the choices is what's really great, because I mean I remember some of the plays we've had. It's like you're turning away a family. Some of it's really and
grim.
You're like, I mean, you have to make that choice because you either don't have the food, you don't have the space, and it's like, and there's a moral dilemma, even though it's a cardboard game.
And so the Crossroads deck, some of them are marked with adults only content.
Yes.
That you can take out to make this more family friendly. Like some of the ones that do, like, there's ones where it's like, one of your people has been caught doing drugs.
Yep.
And they're tweaking and using all your stuff and stealing your crap. Do you kick them out?
Yep.
You're like, oh, okay, I don't need that with my 8-year-old kids.
Yeah, right.
So, like, there's little symbols. You can take out some of the harsher stuff so it's a bit more palatable. But yeah, this makes you make some decisions. Like, do you want to be the good guy, or are you going to be super pragmatic about things? Like, you got some choices to make, and that's what makes this game really fun.
A great game.
Yes. I think the last game we've got here is Legendary Encounters.
This one of our favorite non-wargame games that we've won once, twice.
Maybe twice.
And we've probably played it 25 times.
Yeah. This is a cruel game. It is absolutely merciless.
Yes.
I've had Legendary Marvel for a long time. Like, I bought that when it first came out.
That's a freaking cakewalk.
That's like it's this nice co-op game, and like, at the end, I got some victory points. Like, it's fun, and it's got nice little superheroes.
This thing is brutal.
Yeah, I then got this.
It's brutal.
Just as like, oh, sure, this would be cool.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And I'm so glad you did.
And it's like,
you're
dead.
You did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, a face hugger got onto you.
And there's nothing you can do.
And it implants a chest burster in you.
Yep.
When you draw that chest burster, you're dead and out of the game.
And that's one of the greatest parts, because that chest burster goes into your deck. Your deck may be 25, 30 cards, and... there's 2 of you, or 3 of you, and it's like, we know you're a time bomb.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're trying to keep you alive as long as you can because you're helping us. And then I also try to use you as a meat shield in some ways.
Well, because you're immune, like, aliens will not attack you, so you get to run in there and do the dangerous stuff.
Because they're not going to kill you, because... So... And the Aliens theme, you know, when Ridley Scott came out with the game, or the movie, his whole purpose was to create a horror experience in space.
Yeah.
You know, the tagline of the game was, in space, nobody can hear you scream. And that movie is, every other second, the alien, the one single alien, is popping through a vent, grabbing people, or running down a corridor, and they're shutting a door at the last minute.
Yeah.
Even the very end, when Ripley crawls into the escape pod, and she thinks she's safe. There's the frickin' alien that looks exactly like the superstructure of the craft, but it's that horror, and you feel that in this game. Because those things come through the shafts, and you're like, how do I stop these guys?
Yeah, you get the hopelessness of this game in a way, where you're just like, oh my gosh, will it ever end? Or, how many times have we played this where we're like, oh sweet, we're doing really well.
And then
I know that's a death knell for us.
Yes.
Because you might think you're getting ahead, and then the game is like...
it'll punish you. Yeah.
And just like, bam, 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 and all of a sudden, the complex is full of aliens, and you're like, oh my goodness.
It's over. But it's just so fun. And
I just keep coming back for more. I love this game.
A great horror game. You know, there's another game, we didn't include it on this video, but I think it's just up. It's up to my left.
Oh, Space Hulk, yeah.
Space Hulk, because isn't it kind of the same thing as Aliens? Just
it's
a little different.
Effectively a rip, yeah.
Yeah. That's the same thing where you have aliens trying to run through a complex to get the Marines.
Yeah,
stop them from a goal.
They're little blips, so you don't know how many are there. You know that they're there, but you don't know how many. That's a good one too.
And you're looking at that, trying to figure out, how many movement does that guy have, and how many spaces are we away from each other? But this game is great. Love it. All these games that we've talked about, I just have a good time with them.
Yes, yeah.
We're playing them for fun. You know, we need a break sometimes from serious war games.
Yes.
And that's what we do. We play these types of games.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'll say about myself, at least. When I play games, I'm in it for the social aspect, but I also want the game to make me, I don't know, feel something. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't necessarily like dry Euros, because I'm like, I feel bored.
Well, you're just collecting resources.
I feel a bit of tension, or like, oh no, I need this thing. Oh, I didn't get it.
And there's
that's fun for me.
And there's always some of that tactical concept where, I got to shoot this guy because he can't move up, and this guy's stuck, and it's, so there's that concept of fire priority and. What you I just like
of your precious resources. You get that in here.
But more so, I like the tension that this game creates. And of all these games that we talked about tonight, this is by far my favorite, followed by the Zeds game, Dawn of the Zeds.
I might have to go with Warfighter Zombies.
Oh, so good.
But this is
my number
pinnacle.
one.
The artwork in this game is unbelievably good. Some of it is fairly grotesque and violent, especially all of like the wounds and stuff. So just know that going into it. I think they say
it's probably a mature game, right?
I swear they had a. It says age 17 plus on it.
Yeah.
You probably get away with a bit lower than that, but you know they're like, don't play this with your small children. Right. It's quite violent.
It's a great game though.
Pictures, but it's so much fun.
Yeah.
The theme is grand. I love Alien. I love Aliens.
And that's just it. I saw Aliens about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And I'll watch that all the time. My wife hates it.
Yeah.
And she had to...
Because you've watched it so many times that she's scared.
That, I just don't think... I don't know. But I'm like watching it and it's just so good.
Yeah.
The special effects are terrible in some ways, but
they're also great in some ways.
What it is for 86?
I don't know.
It was 1986. Then I was 13 years old. You weren't even born.
I was not.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's our list of Halloween type horror games that we've played and enjoy. We had a couple war games in there. Yeah. Kind of a good list. Give any of these games a try and you'll have a good time. Yeah. I promise you that.
Those are the games that I play around this time of year, and a lot of these we just play whenever we can squeeze them in. But if you're feeling festive, give any of these games a try.
Festive and Halloween.
Well, I don't know what to call it. I'm feeling spooky. Give them a go. These ones are all nice, solid regs.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of them are a bit more wargamey, some of them are a bit more fun and silly.
And there's other games out there that I'm sure we've played or even thought of, but these are the ones that came to our mind.
You've got that Colonial Marines game coming later in the year.
I'm so excited about that game.
So if you have any other recommendations of like, you know, horror-y games,
remember
let
that
us know.
Thing game that we never got to try at Gen Con? You know, that's a game
What's that called? Was it like Area 421 or something?
Outpost 51.
Outpost 51. Oh, I want to play that. So
Hidden Trader type game, and it had the thing in it, and
you need
that's
lots
another
of players for that one.
Yeah, you do, and that's another theme. I'll watch that movie no matter what.
Yeah.
At any time. So Kurt Russell he's pretty badass in that movie.
That's a badass film. Just playing chess. Anyway, let us know if you've got any good recommendations that you'd have for Halloween-y type games. And appreciate you guys tuning in. This is one of the best games of all time. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.
And I'm Grant.